Hello everybody and welcome to Software 101. In this series or segment or channel, not channel but playlist, what we're going to cover is learning Autodesk Inventor. I have, let's see, this is in Autodesk Inventor Pro 2014. The basic principles pretty much relate to everything from I think Rev 11 all the way up to 2015. I would like to first start off and state that we're going to progressively learn this, and I'm going to assume that most of you have some form of CAD knowledge, at least maybe the fundamentals of old school drafting, where you're on a table using paper and pencil. I'm not going to go into a lot of the reasons why for general drafting information. This is basically trying to get you to understand the software itself. I would also like to state that I am not a subject matter expert on Inventor. I have been using it for probably about 7 years as a mechanical and electrical designer. Specifically, as my job title right now is electrical designer. So I will get you started. If you leave comments, if you guys have questions, feel free to leave comments. No question is a stupid question, but I will say, as far as the comments go, I'm going to have everything set up for approved only, mainly just to try and cut down on some of the rude comments, spam, and also things that I really don't deem necessary, or how would I put that? Basically unfit for the channel. So if you're there to troll or just run your mouth, chances are the comment won't get posted. If you have a true legitimate question or critique or anything like that, I'll be more than happy to put it up. Just keep it, or try and keep it professional. I do understand it's YouTube, but hey. So what we're going to start off with today is essentially the interface. Like I said, this is 2014. A lot of them look very similar. I believe either 2010 or 2011 is when they switched to the ribbon toolbar up here. Before that it looked different. You can go back and change it to more of a classic feel, but I'm going to teach you guys on the ribbon. So here you have getting started. It's basic concept here. You have new, open. Projects is for setting up different projects, which will actually start off with the default. I'll get into that more in a minute. You can open up samples, go to the welcome screen, go to the team web, see what's new in that rev of Inventor. You also have Autodesk's video tutorials. You have your tools bar that has your application options. Document settings will only come into play whenever you have a document open. You can also go in and set up your VBA and macros if you get into more advanced stuff. You can manage your add-ins. You can customize a lot of different information. You can also use an iLogic configuration, which we'll cover much later. You have a content center, which you can open up your editor. Content center is essentially I don't want this to be a pun, but kind of a nuts and bolts, if you will. And just so you see real quick, I mean, you have connectors, fasteners, molded parts, shafts, bushings, links, O-rings, tube and pipe, structural shapes, all that other stuff, which can be used, rather, if you're trying to make something on your own, or if you work for a company that doesn't have its own hardware library set up. You could use that for your basic hardware stuff that is normally purchased off the shelf. Anything that's not severely customized, you could use that for. Again, add-ins, I have no add-ins. Vault, this will be covered in its own segment because I do not have Vault running on this. I don't even have a virtual Vault running. If your company has Vault, that's great. I actually suggest using it as much as possible. But here's where, well, one of the places that you'll have the ability to log in, log out, refresh, check in, check out, and things of that nature. And then you also have Autodesk 360, which is their cloud-based or web-based system for, right here they have Simulation 360. I believe for some of the other programs they have like Catch 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that. But without further ado, actually, let me cover this panel up here before I get ahead of myself. Right here is where you can actually type in a search. Basic principles here. And for some reason this is not accessing, but if you have a simple question, or if you wanted to try and research something from Autodesk's docs, you can type in a search phrase up here, hit either enter their binoculars, and it'll display all the information. Obviously your key is in lieu of the subscription center. This is more or less if you have a subscription. Some people do, some people don't. Students do not, which I will remark that if you are a student either in, say, high school or more specifically college, instead of just doing the 30-day trial from Autodesk, they will actually give you a student edition copy of pretty much any software package that they have for free. You sign up with your student email address. You basically agree that you won't be using it for profit, and you can get a student copy. The downside with the student copy is obviously you can't make any money off of it. It's used for learning. Secondly, it prompts you almost every other time you open a file that has been made in in a student edition, that it's been made in a student edition, and you do not have the ability to receive subscription perks, free help, certain technical support, things of that nature. Where was I at? Communication centers, basically for updates and things of that nature. Your favorites, which I'd never use. And then of course you're signing into your Autodesk 360, which I almost never do. Exchange apps, honestly, I couldn't even tell you what it is because I never use it. And then of course your help. If you go in here, you also have different things that you can get into. Customer involvement program, if you needed extra language packs for German or French, Italian, so on and so forth, about Autodesk Inventor. And of course you have some of the same principles over here under your launch new features and tutorials in your help drop down as well. So that pretty much covers the basics of the ribbon toolbar. On the left hand side you have the drop down tree, which will populate whenever you have a document open. Let's see if I have something that I can open just so you can see what we're getting into here. That's good enough. I'm not quite sure if it's because of a recent update that I did, or because I'm using Camtasia Studio to record this, but it seems to be moving a little bit slower than I'm used to. Okay. Over here on the left hand side you have your drop down tree. This will display every feature and part that you will have in the document that's open. This changes depending on the type of document. in which you have multiple documents. You have an assembly document, drawing document, part document, and presentation. Also included in the assembly, you have both a standard assembly and you have a weldment assembly, which again I will get into that stuff later on. Just like with your standard part, you have a standard part and you also have a sheet metal part, which is basically what it sounds like. It's for whenever you have something that's made out of sheet metal or another material in which you will literally have to physically bend the shape to produce what you're, well, to model what you're trying to produce. But again, all that stuff we'll get into later. On this left hand side, you could do a filter so you can hide different information such as your UCS, which, goddammit. You can hide work features, notes, documents, warnings, show extended names, which I really don't get into a whole lot. You can also try and find a part. So for the sake of argument, you have, let's see here, thread 1. I'll just do for thread 1. Okay, so if you're looking for a specific part in a subassembly or an assembly, or if you're looking for a certain feature in a sheet metal part or a standard part, you can actually go into find part features and set up essentially a search criteria. So I can look for features, type in the name, the condition, give it a value. So add that to the list, find now, and it'll highlight what I set in for criteria. So in this case I said the name begins with THRE. The only thing in my drop down tree was thread, which started with THRE, and it highlighted that for me. Now, I'll get into search a little bit more later on, obviously, but I just want to kind of give you guys the rundown here. Here, this is your part, or your assembly, or your drawing, depending on which one you have open. In this case, it's a part. This is your part name, which is part1.ipt. From here you can actually right click on it and go into a multitude of different things, which again we'll cover later. You can have your drop down for solid bodies, which depending on how you wish to approach certain things due to different operating procedures, if you will, you can have multiple solid bodies on one part, but that's getting into standards versus SOPs versus how things should be done and can be done, which is a huge debate and topic that I'm not going to get into because we could probably be here for the next 3 weeks debating this back and forth, and it will be a disastrous mess. But if you do create more than one solid, they will fall under solid bodies. And as you can see here in parentheses, I only have one solid. If I had more than one solid, this numerical value will actually raise or lower depending on how many solids you have. Your view drop down comes more into play. I mean, it comes into play with everything, but it comes more into play when you get into assemblies and sub-assemblies. So I'll cover that more a little bit in the near future. Your origin drop-down is all of your planes in three-dimensional space, as well as your three-dimensional axes and your center point. This is super important whenever you first start your project, and it's important throughout the longevity of the project. You'll see that here very shortly when we get into sketching and modeling something for the first time. Underneath your origin, you have all your different features. So here I have an extrusion, a hole, 2 more extrusions, and a thread, which is not particularly the way that we would really like to do this, but I did this as an example for something else. It was actually how not to do something. It was the first thing I saw that was open. Right directly in front of you, you have your main work area, which has, obviously, your part, your assembly, your presentation, your drawing, whatever you have open at that moment. You also have the cube here with a little house over in the upper right hand corner of your workspace. This is if you want a direct view of something. You can manipulate this cube in any which way that you would like. So if I wanted a straight on view, also whenever I'm in this area I have a left and right arrow. All this does is rotate it on that face, left and right. If you click one of these corners, it'll take you into an ISO view of that particular corner. Home button, or the little button that looks like a house, takes you back to essentially this ISO view. However, you can change that to your desires, if you will. I try and keep it in the same configuration as far as top, front, left, right, bottom. That way it makes things, if you do it the same for everything, it makes things so much easier while you're doing work later on down the line. Also over here you have this little toolbar where you have a steering wheel, or a navigation wheel, which allows you to orbit, pan around. You can actually rewind different views, zoom in and out, place a center, look around different objects or an object, raise and lower or slide up and down, and also walk. Honestly, I will say I don't use this very often. I will probably use it a little bit more since I have my space ball at work and I don't have it here anymore. You also have the ability in this little drop down to change the size. So mini setup here. Mini, well, you have a mini view and a mini tour. You also have the mini navigation wheel that has all of those combined. The full navigation wheel, basic views, your basic tours. You have a go to home. You have a fit to window. Restore original center. And then you also have your options for your steering wheel, which until you get into it more, I would leave it at default. Let me go back to full navigation and close wheel. If you're not a big fan of the steering wheel, you also have your pan button, your fit, and under this, well, I call it fit, it's also zoom all, but in this little drop down here you can also do zoom window, and zoom selected. You have your orbit, both a constrained orbit and a free orbit. That is a free orbit, and then you also have a constrained orbit. And then you also have a look at, which is convenient for looking at different faces. It's one of those things that I typically use whenever I'm having certain issues creating a plane on a certain surface, or if I want to have something that's maybe at an angle. I can't view it straight on just by using either my cube or the steering wheel. If I want to look at an angled surface or a curved surface or something like that, I will go that route. But aside from that, if I just want to look straight on at something, I'll just hit the look, or what is this called again? Look at, which is also page up. I will tell you right now, I don't get into hotkeys very often, so if you're a hotkey fan, I apologize. Down in this corner here, in well, I'd say that'd be close to your bottom left area of the work zone or work screen, work window, work space, whatever you wish to call it. You have your UCS, which is your X, Y, and Z coordinates. Just gives you an idea which orientation that you're using, which face you're looking at, and all that other good stuff, which comes into play more so with larger components and things of that nature. And finally, at the bottom right, you have two different numbers here. I believe 32-bit still has the green, yellow, red status bar, if you will. When it's not gobbling up a whole lot of RAM, it'll be green. When it starts getting into, I believe it's like 60 to 80%, it turns yellow, and anything over 80%, it turns red. And it also prompts, Inventor also prompts you that you're consuming, I'm going to say it's 80% of your available memory, which can cause serious issues, including crashes. So it's kind of one of those things that you need to quickly save and close out Inventor, reopen it so you can purge some of that memory and basically start new from scratch, or not new from scratch, but start working on your project all over with a fresh memory instead of having a lot of the memory consumed. Inventor is a bit of a memory whore. I hate to say it like that, but it is, and there are times, especially on 32-bit systems, if you're trying to operate Inventor, that you will have to save your file. Excuse me. You will have to save your file, close Inventor out, reopen Inventor and the file in order just to purge some of that memory out. Like I said a little bit earlier in this video, you can see with each file type, it opens and modifies the toolbar a little bit, and we will get into each individual one a little bit more in the future. Thanks for watching the intro to Inventor. Please do me a favor, comment. If you like the video, like it. Also, feel free to subscribe, because we will be doing a lot more of these. I'm going to try and close out the entire Inventor program, and then move on to possibly Maya and 3ds Max in the near future. I'm not sure what exactly I have slated after that, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this boring 30-minute introduction to Inventor, and hope you stick around for some more exciting videos in the near future.